Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
All right, welcome to the KVJ ATS Podcast.
Kevin's eyes look insane, but he's got new hair. Virginia is a witch, and she farts in her chair. Jason is a spaz who's got an old man's ass. Welcome to the After the Show Podcast.
Here we go. It is a crazy world record Wednesday here today. Jaybird decided to go for one. I thought was a pretty daring world record. That is the most mousetraps snapped on the tongue in 60 seconds. The world record's 53. I watched very carefully the video of the guy doing it. He looked like a very tough kind of guy that stepped right off of the set of Game of Thrones. And he was just, not even flinching as he was doing it. So I was like, well, I guess it can be done. Didn't look like he's doing any kind of crazy damage.
We worried about the tongue. We were like, oh no, could he hurt his tongue? Could he snap off the tip of his tongue? We didn't even think about the teeth. Yeah,
that's why I was shocked and stunned when after the 12th mousetrap went off on his tongue, he's like, my tooth. And I look up and I was stunned. I couldn't believe it. It clear as day. It looked like one of those comical kind of things when somebody blacks out their tooth. I mean, it was his front tooth was just clearly gone. And if you're watching on KVJ TV, there's a lot of people that were checking this out, including Cesar. And he said, Kev, I'm not sure if you're having trouble breathing or if you're peeing yourself from laughing so hard, but yeah, I honestly leaned over in my chair.
You were laughing.
I was laughing, but I couldn't look at him.
I couldn't believe it.
Because I didn't want to just blatantly laugh at his pain. And I've lost, I've snapped off both my front teeth. So I've been there. And it's not fun. And so I felt bad. I wanted to laugh right at him. But oh my gosh, he looked so comically ridiculous. And then he started talking, and he had that terrible I'm missing a tooth lip. Oh, my gosh. It was
just too much.
It was too much.
We couldn't process what just took place.
I didn't even know where to go with it. I was like, oh my gosh.
But thank goodness there's so many angles that this thing was being shot from. Suits had it on KVJ TV. I had it on Insta Story. And there were so many people that have taken the freeze frames. And I think we figured out he ate that damn tooth.
Yeah, we went through the frame by frame of it, and it's there 1 second, gone the next, and there's no white blur of it flying out of his mouth. It's just there and gone. And so I imagine it's somewhere in his belly right now.
And the way the tooth broke, I think it might be in two pieces.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just got one spike that's just still stuck there. It's just right down the middle. So I don't know what they do with that. I'm not a dentist. I'm hoping that somehow it's an easy fix. I don't know.
When you do damage to your teeth, which I've done too, that they either repair the whole thing and they bolt it in, or they just do resin fillings and hope for the best. I have a few hope for the bests that aren't actually bolted in.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I could pop the bottom half of a couple of my teeth off if I keep acting like an asshole.
Yeah, I guess you just don't even know. It's very unpredictable. My wife just got two fake teeth put in, and she was eating last night, and she has two teeth in her hand. I'm like, is that your new teeth? She's like, yeah, they just came out. I'm like, she just popped them right back in, but I'm like, you better watch. You might swallow those. So, I mean, she
they
just
pop in and out.
She's got them in the last week. Yeah. No, I think already.
They're not supposed to pop in and out.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
It's tricky. Again, here's the thing. As you get older, your teeth get more brittle. So even if you had, back in the day, I had some strong-ass teeth. Big, buck, strong teeth.
Okay.
But through the years, I've been rough on them. I grind my teeth. That causes weakening. You know, I've done everything wrong.
Yeah.
And now my teeth are like, wow, you better really be careful because you're at the point where if you damage them much more, you're going to have to get veneers.
Yeah. No, that's it. And I know those veneers, the teeth are not cheap.
No.
Yeah. So we'll hopefully have insurance will take care of it. We'll try to figure out what the cost is. I'd hate for him to have to take on any kind of issue for that. So we'll.
I think our boss came down the hall. She said it happened at work, so you can actually file a workman's comp.
Okay.
You were technically doing your job when you knocked your front tooth out with a mousetrap.
Yeah.
That was the conversation.
You're right. I mean, it's preposterous as it sounds. I can only imagine that explanation. So how did you do this? I was snapping mousetraps on my tongue.
As a part of my job responsibilities.
While I knocked it out. Well, I know the one thing at least Bird will be happy about, comments like what Ashley put on our Facebook page. I watched this at work. I had tears in my eyes. I was laughing so hard. I'm so sorry for laughing, Jay Bird. I hope it gets fixed quickly. And I felt that bad, too. I felt bad for laughing, but I think Jay Bird would be happy knowing him that at least people found some humor out of it and were able to get a good laugh.
Took joy from it.
Yeah.
If you go in our Instagram direct messages, people are dying. They love it.
Yeah, it was highly entertaining. Sorry for the pain, and I'm hoping that the cost isn't financially painful. We'll try to figure that out.
Yeah, no, I don't think we have to worry about that.
Okay. All right. So, but yeah, it was pretty crazy. Even some suggestions like Jeff thinks that he should just go straight out gold.
Yeah, get a gold tooth or one of those diamond teeth.
It would pop. It would pop. There's no doubt about it. It would stand out. So we'll see. Hopefully he gets that fixed today, at least with a temporary, because I know I think most concerned about having to give up the times. He wanted to stay on schedule with filming his horror movie.
So in half the movie, he'll have his old tooth. And in the back half of the movie,
you'll never know when a scene was shot based on his teeth.
Continuity. He will not have the same front tooth.
Yeah. Wait, did that guy get...
That just makes the movie more awesome.
Wait, did the killer get dental work done?
It's an Easter egg.
Yeah.
You got to try to find the point in the movie where he lost his tooth.
Right. Before or after. Yeah, crazy. All right, well, you can go back and watch that again. We'll put up some smaller clips so you can easily find it on our social media today, and you can check it out. On KVJ TV, just go to YouTube, look for the KVJ show, and it'll be there on today, right about 8 a.m. is when it went down. Jaber was talking about how his dad found a letter he wrote to Tom Hanks back in the day about the movie Splash, saying he loved mermaids and wanted to know if Tom Hanks wanted to eat some pizza with him.
Aww.
Jaber was 8 at the time. And Fabiola said, in 7th grade, I saw Little Giants and had a crush on Devon Sawa. I wrote him a letter, and a couple weeks later, I received a black and white photograph signed with a gold pen.
Aww.
I also wrote to Dean Cain and received a postcard-sized colored photo with a pre-printed signature.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of times that used to be the game. Now, I don't know if celebrities still do that. I don't know if they ended with social media coming out and they're like, forget that. But
back in the day, I don't know if you did this because you were a guy, but there was this magazine called Tiger Beat.
I remember it, yeah.
And you could actually join like the fan clubs of a lot of these teen heartthrobs. And I remember being a preteen and wanting so bad to join like the Ricky Schroeder fan club or the Dukes of Hazzard fan club, but it was too expensive. I think it was like $4.
Oh, okay, yeah,
My
that's
mom
too
was
much.
like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That's crazy talk. Yeah. So, today, I don't know if they still even do this. I know that some people said, oh, I've tweeted a celebrity, and they got back to me that way, so maybe everybody just does that.
That's the new way.
But listen to Angie's. She said in 9th grade, we were assigned to write our favorite celebrity a letter, and my friend loved Chris Farley. About a month after the assignment, we were bummed to hear the news that he had passed away. A few days later after that, my friend receives a letter in the mail with an autographed picture of Chris Farley and a handwritten note thanking him for being a fan. The letter was postmarked about a week before he died.
No way.
Isn't
That
that
just
crazy?
gave me chills.
Yeah.
Wow. What a timing.
How about that? And if you don't know, it was what a drug overdose that got Chris Farley, right?
Right. Yeah, I think so. Oh, that's so weird, the timing. You find out he died, and then you get a letter from him.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, places like that, too. And I remember I think it was the Sears Tower is where he was, which is, a big landmark building in Chicago. I think he had an apartment there. And have you ever had that where you go by places where there's been a famous celebrity death and you're just kind of like, I don't know, it's just still kind of eerie. Even still when I go by the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, I think of Anna Nicole Smith
Interesting.
because she had died there. You're down in Miami and, the steps. I know people still go there.
The Versace mansion.
Where, yeah,
I'm
Gianni
going
Versace
there.
was
You know,
killed.
I'm going there this weekend.
Right.
And I'm actually going to go have lunch at the Versace mansion.
Yeah.
I want to go check it out. I've always wanted to go on the inside. And now they've turned it into a hotel. And you can go for lunch or you can go for dinner. I'm going to go for lunch with my friend. But then I want to go back with Panda and maybe spend the night in the hotel and go there for a romantic dinner.
Yeah, I think the Queen and I looked into it. I think it was about, I think the cheapest was like $800.
I saw like 500.
Okay.
But you know what I'm going to do when I'm there? Because I'm going with my friend who's a party planner. I'm going to see if there's any kind of relationship you can strike up and maybe, know somebody to get off the rack rates.
Okay.
My friend's a party planner. He does this by trade. So,
Finds great rates.
well, he brings groups to hotels. He books corporate party planning. So, like his clients used to include before COVID, like Coca-Cola, Ford.
Yeah.
He would do these giant parties where they would bring all their top executives and he would set up the hotel. He would set up the excursions. He would set up in the ballroom, they would have like dinners and here they would do this and that. He would set up all the details. And that's how he made his money for many, many years. So he still knows how to wheel and deal with those people.
It's good to have that kind of person.
I think you can rent out the Versace mansion for weddings, parties,
Wow.
events.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So if he can speak to them on those terms, maybe I can get some kind of side deal for
Okay.
us.
Well, okay. Yeah, you let me know. Because I looked at it, I was like, okay, we'll take them way up.
not gonna stay there.
What's the Holiday Inn Express?
Well, maybe if we can find a night when they're not sold out and be like, hey, can we get a room for 200?
Okay. Yeah. Good luck. This is interesting, too. I was talking about my mom's laptop. We're kind of going through stuff now. It's been a month since she passed, and so I got her laptop. It's a nice laptop. But, there's all of her stuff that's on it. It's kind of weird. Denny's been kind of working on that project. But, there's part of me that feels kind of weird going through it because I know, a lot. It's just, it's personal. It's like going through somebody's phone. But
Sure.
I know there's stuff on there because, this wasn't a mapped out kind of thing.
Right.
That's why I think it'd be a lot easier if you're like, okay, I got a terminal illness or like the time is severely ticking. I mean, my mom had no idea. So there was no kind of preparation. You just wonder, I'm sure she would have done a lot of this stuff.
When she
had
was
had
leaving
known.
her house to go to the hospital, she had no idea she would never go back to her house.
No, exactly.
It's crazy to think about how it
Yeah.
just plays out like that.
Yeah,
But
it was kind of weird, when I went up there because she would a lot of times even sleep on the couch that was out there. And there were a couple where she had been laying. There were a couple used tissues that were there and some stuff that, had been left right before. And it was just odd. She had cough drops that were laying there that
wow.
she had. So, yeah, just, stuff like that. Everything about it's surreal and odd. So, yeah, there was nothing there that she'd planned for. But, yeah, what do you do? Because, we've talked about if you have embarrassing boxes of stuff or things you wouldn't want the whole world or the family to be going through, be like, oh, my gosh, look what I just found.
Your mama lived by the light of the Lord, though.
She did,
You're not
yeah.
going to find anything
No.
scandalous.
I wasn't thinking that either. No, there was nothing scandalous. It's, like I said, I'd found that petition. She was getting fired up to try to make sure that there was no open containers allowed anywhere. She didn't want anybody walking around drinking beer or wine around her town. She said it was just going to, go to hell. She's like, that's not what our town's all about. But I got an email here that said, yeah, this is usually something people take care of. Digital assets or assets of a person's estate. You need to bequeath the digital assets to the secret keeper or have that person be the personal representative. They can't just legally go in and delete after you die. So my mom did not have that person. My dad's an attorney and handled all that kind of stuff. And so there was nothing there. I don't think it's anything she cares about or would have. But it's an interesting thing to think about that maybe, hey, look, none of us are planning on kicking it anytime soon. But, life sometimes has different plans that think about your phone and your laptop and all that. That might be something that if you have a will, get that put in there so that there is some person like Jay Bird has Denny's that's going to go through his place and get anything in there incriminating he wouldn't want his dad or sisters or anybody else to see.
Bequeath your digital assets.
Yes, put
to
that in
somebody.
there. Yeah, and then no one else can get access to your laptops. And then also put your passwords in there. I know they often change, but hopefully there's a way that you can at least say, hey, here's the password to my password keeper. And that person has that. So even if you're changing passwords, they'll get the updated ones.
Yeah, Denny's has all of our passwords. So if he dies before us, we're screwed.
Yeah. The other thing that there's other things that were, maybe a little bit more personal that was really kind of interesting to me. And I try not to look too much into it. But on my mom's laptop, you could see her messages.
Oh.
You know how you have your text messages on your phone?
Yes.
It was syncing up with her laptop. And so, I delete a lot of stuff and, I still have a thread from my mom. It's just still sitting on my phone.
Don't delete that.
And I'm not. I don't have any plans of deleting it. If anything ever happens, I think, I'll probably print it out. I had the last text that she sent me and the last text that, I sent her. But, typically I would, be deleting texts, whenever they come in, just kind of keep my phone
clean. It's Kevin clean.
Yeah, it
so
is.
It's real clean.
It is Kevin clean. And so when I was going through my mom's, laptop, it was kind of interesting because I could see conversations that she had. And it only goes back to August 17th. And her last, it started off with in the hospital. They want me to go to Lancaster or Columbus. Oxygen is low. That's where she had that. So on her laptop, it went back even further. And I just kind of was going through the thread and I was able to see the conversations we were having about the vaccine. And it was all that stuff. She's like, maybe I'll read it off, but as I was reading it, it was just all that stuff. Like the vaccine is killing people. They're not reporting it. She said most people will be dead in 4 to 5 years who take the vaccine. And
you sped up the timeline by not getting it.
Yeah, and I was looking at my own thing, and I was just, hey, look, I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to push the vaccine on anybody.
No,
the only thing
the fact is the fact.
Yeah,
she did not listen to the advice of her doctor.
Right,
and instead of getting the vaccine,
dropping dead in 4 to 5 years.
She got the COVID, and the COVID took you out.
Yeah. And so, if there would have been maybe one thing I could say, I'd be like going, yeah, you may die in 4 to 5 years of the vaccine, but if you don't, you'll die this year of the COVID.
In 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah. So that was just, those were the kind of things I'm like, yeah, it was interesting to see what our conversations were about that.
Were you able to see any of the conversations between her and her sister that was also very anti-vaccine?
I haven't gone that much into it, just because of doing work and all that. And I'm still a little weirded out by it, but every day it goes in, I take maybe another 5 or 10 minutes and just kind of look, through some stuff to see what it was. And I do see a couple conversations. I'll take a quick glance and scroll back a bit, but I'm trying not to get lost in the rabbit hole of it because one, it could be a time suck. I don't have time to suck. And two, like I said, it is kind of weird because
it feels weird.
Well, you get into that part, and that's where I have a little bit of a moral dilemma. I'm like, this might be slightly out of bounds where you're going through other text messages I wasn't involved in. I didn't feel bad about going back through our thread.
Right.
But yeah, reading threads that she would have had with her sister and things like that, I haven't gone there yet because I'm not sure I'm going to. So, but it is kind of interesting to go through it. Let me see some other emails that we got here. Benita had said, hey, I'm a little bit behind on the ATS, so maybe I missed it. But Kevin, you forgot to tell us about your crazy hookup. You're doing the raise your hand poll with the steak knives and the rest of the crew as well. I'm especially interested in Denny's and Suits. So I'll have to have them take turns and come in here.
Your crazy hookup with the steak knives.
Yeah, I think the story that we had was on the Raise Your Hand poll from last week. And you're right, I forgot to tell the stories after the show. And the stories were, did you ever hook up with somebody that was a little deranged or crazy or something like that? And my story was, there was a girl when I was in college. And it was kind of one of these weird things. You're in college, and this is just kind of the way that you treat your life. But there was a girl that, I would run into in the bars, and she would, kind of hang out. It was last call, and so.
Hey, you want to go home together? All right.
It was kind of a little bit that way, but it wasn't like we would ever go on formal dates or anything like that. And so I had a really cool apartment right above the bars. It was on the top floor.
Of course you did.
Skylights. We had a jacuzzi tub.
Pimp palace.
It was pretty awesome. Yeah, so it was right there. So we would often have people, up there. I had, roommates are all frat guys. And so, we had all that kind of stuff that was always going on.
Bro paradise.
It was a bro paradise. It had that sweet natty light beer sign, the sweet mood lighting that would create.
Oh, yeah. I had a Bush Light one. I remember. They were sweet.
So we had that going on, and this girl, kind of came over, and she was all about, stripping down. You're wearing no clothes. You're kind of rolling around. She's like, I don't want anything to happen. I'm like, okay. And I'm cool with that. I'm like, I respect it, but I'm like, hey, where you are, where you're drawing the boundaries, I think it's better that I sleep on the couch.
Yeah, I don't want to sleep naked with you in the bed.
Right.
If you don't want me to go any further.
Right.
So I'm going to go to the couch.
Right. So I did that. And then she came out and was like then laying on the couch. She's like, I just want to be naked and near you and this. And I'm like, okay, this is like, I don't know. I don't like this. I feel
I'm
like
getting a boner and I can't do anything with it. So I'm going to go back in my room.
She didn't get that. And so I went and I started to go back in my room, and she's like not having it. And at this point, I start to see the crazy in her eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, this girl, I think
she just wants to lay and hold each other naked.
Yeah. Look, I just didn't want any stories to happen or whatever. I'm like, look, I want to be in a consensual situation, and this has just put me in a place where I feel like I could be in some kind of trouble. I didn't feel good about it. I'm like, look, let's not do this.
Let's call it good.
Let's call it good. And so she just kept following me around. Like, I wasn't kicking her out, but I'm like, I'm going to go out here. You sleep in my bed, and that's fine. And so when the couch thing happened, I started to head into my room, and she's like, no, you don't. And she grabbed onto me. She's like, you're laying down. I'm like, okay, this is getting really weird. And so I started to go in, and she grabbed my leg, and I'm dragging her across the floor trying to get in my room. And I can't get in, and I feel bad, but I kind of went doink, and I stepped on her head. She's like, oh, and she let go, and I slammed the door. And I had this, and she's trying to get in there. I can hear her trying
naked.
Well, she had her, because I threw the clothes out.
Oh, okay.
And the thing, I'm put your clothes on. I'm like, I just need to stay in here, and I locked the door because I'm like, we need separation. I'm not comfortable with this situation.
Because you got a little aggressive.
And so I'm laying in my bed, and I hear click, click, I hear her trying to pick the lock. And I'm like, what the hell is this girl doing? And finally it gets quiet and whatever, and the next day I kind of cautiously open up the door to my bedroom, and I look out in the living room. I look on the couch. Like, okay, she's not there. And so I open it a little bit more wide, look around, no sign of her.
Okay.
So I step out and I close the door behind me, and there's 6 steak knives sticking out of my wooden door. She took all of our steak knives and stuck them in my door. I'm like, oh my God, this bitch is crazy. And I remember another time after that, she saw me at the bar. She's like, we're going home together. I'm like, no. And she
we are
chased
not.
me out of the bar. I was running down the bar street with this girl in hot pursuit. I'm like, this bitch is going to kill me. I told my roommates, I'm like, if I wind up stabbed or dead, I'm like, it's this girl.
Vindicate my death.
It is this girl, yes. I'm like, just no, take it to the authorities. That was the biggest, yeah. So if you ever like kind of hooked up with a psycho chick, yeah, that was the one. So I think Denny's and Suits had a story.
You guys have a psycho story to share?
I think that's what it was. It said, I'm especially interested in Denny's or Suits stories. So I can I'll get Suits in here. So I know Benito wanted to hear this.
Here he comes. He's putting on his suit jacket. You know, he's got to keep up the rep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yeah, you had a story. You remember that? We were talking about, what was it? You hooked up with somebody a little crazy or something like that, I think is what it was.
Yeah, so I never actually told this story just because I didn't want to offend the person that I was with. But it was really weird. So I had just gone through a breakup. I met some girl on Tinder, and somehow she talked me into spending the night in Miami, like pretty much the first weekend.
Oh.
Okay.
So she happened to have a hotel, and she claimed all her friends had canceled that were supposed to go with her, and I don't think that was true. But
She booked it for you and her.
I'm like, you know, what the fuck, right? So I went down there with her, and the first thing we were out drinking before, out at like Bayfront Park.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I'm a reserved guy. I'm a quiet guy.
Mm-hmm.
She's not. She was very loud. She was getting a little bit too tipsy and making kind of a scene, and I already started to feel a little uncomfortable.
Oh,
so,
boy.
Yeah.
But I'm stuck down there. We drove down there together. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm not going to get an Uber back to West Palm Beach.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a solid hour.
Yeah, it was even longer than that. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm stuck here for the night, so I'll make the best of it. But I thought maybe she's just a little drunk, whatever, you know, things happen. We went back into the room, we hooked up a little bit, and then we were listening to music before we went back out again, and she was getting, you know, a little bit of a buzz again from drinking some of
So
the
she
stuff we ordered to the
sobered up a
room
little bit, and then she started getting hammered again.
before we went back out.
Okay.
She's a roller coaster.
Yeah, so we did not make it back out. She started, you know, she wanted to stay in. I was on board for it. I'm like, all right, what the hell? But we were kind of laying in bed, messing around. We were listening to each other's music playlists. And I guess she used to sing as a Disney character.
Okay.
And she really wanted to show me how she could do this. Keep in mind, at this point, she's in lingerie. We're half like
This is kind of
doing
getting me
this.
going, Suits. I'm not going to lie.
And it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. The walls are thin in this hotel, and she's full on going in between basically, you know, giving me a blowjob and then turning around and being like, "Let it go, let it go."
Let
and I'm like,
go.
she just keeps switching back and forth, and she's going through her whole catalog. She wants me to know every Disney song she knows, which, by the way, she knows a lot of them.
This is awesomely bizarre, though. I mean, there's a part of this that I get it. I'm completely weirded out, but there's a part of this that I'm like, okay, I think I would go for this. I think I would entertain this really bizarre, weird situation.
Well, at first I was like, all right, whatever, she's having fun, but it just 2 hours of this go on, and now it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I'm tired.
You're
I want to go to
over it.
bed. I'm so over this, and
It's great for 20 minutes.
yeah, it's been way too long. So she wants food then, and I remember her ordering in for some reason like 3 pizzas on my account, even though it was just the 2 of us, and a
pizzas?
cheesy bread and dessert.
Girl went for it.
I'm like, what? We can't eat all this. We're here for a night. It's just the 2 of us.
She's a big eater.
And it was
Wow.
on my card, of course. But I just, the final straw, though, for me is I went to the bathroom to kind of get a moment to myself. And when I came back out, and she's going through my cell phone in my text messages and like laughing about something I was texting. And I'm like,
Damn.
who do you think you are? That's
right.
that's
Not
completely
cool.
crossing a line. So I went back and, you know, we went back the next morning early, and that was the end of that. I'm like,
So you
I
had to
can't.
ride all the way back in silence?
No, I didn't. You know, we had friendly conversation. I let her down after the fact that
Okay.
I wasn't interested because she wanted to come out to one of our events the next week, and I'm like,
No.
no, I really don't.
I don't know. It
I
sounds
don't
like she
know.
would nail it at karaoke.
Yeah.
Probably good at karaoke, but just not at 2 o'clock in the morning in a Miami hotel room while we're trying to get it on. That was just really bad timing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an uncomfortable evening.
Okay. That's good.
Let it go.
Well, I mean, it's already kind of a rebound situation, so you're already kind of down in the dumps, and then you're sitting there like, that was a rough night.
I think the whole former Disney cast member in lingerie singing, I'm kind of oddly, I think at least for a
turned
while.
on.
I think at least for a while, I'd be into that. I'd be okay with it.
It was so loud and so long and so
Okay.
late.
She's a
So
good
many
singer at
songs.
least?
She wasn't bad.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I don't think she actually worked for Disney. I think she used to do like the character stuff like they'd hire people to come out to birthday parties.
Okay.
But
The faux Disney character. If Disney rolled up and caught you doing that, they'd slap you with the cease and desist.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
It was that kind of Disney.
Okay. Well, this is just changing the whole story in my head now. So.
Yeah, it's a little more low budget, Kev.
Yeah. Okay.
Low budget.
So yeah, that was probably one of the weirdest ones I've had.
That's a great story.
All right. Pretty good. All right. We'll have Suits go and run the cameras on
I really hope she
KVJ
doesn't
TV.
hear that.
And get Denny's in here for his story on his crazy hookup. What happened with him? Okay, we got Suit's story. Got my story. What happened with you, Denny's? The crazy hookup.
Oh man, I got to follow Suits on that one.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty good story.
Let it go.
So I had it was a ex-girlfriend. We dated not very long because I think you can only hide your personality for so long. But she was the type that when I would get home from school, she would already be at my apartment waiting. And I told her a couple times trying to be cool, just saying, hey, that kind of comes off weird, especially when I'm coming back with my friends and nobody expects you to be here, that you're just like sitting on my porch. So I was like, it's cool, it's fine, and I brought it up to her, but she kept doing it. Well, anyway, eventually we broke up and we were at, it was Devaney's in Orlando, right? And after we break up, because we broke up pretty epically because she was being crazy, she was telling me she lost her cat, and then her roommate said that she was having her watch her cat, and then she said that she lost it, and she wanted me to help her find it.
The cat was safe?
It was safe. It was just at her friend's house.
Oh, wow.
So I told her, I was like, I'm afraid we're going to probably have to break up, blah, blah, blah. I don't think this is going to work out. And she threw an epic tantrum in the middle of this bar. I mean, to the point where music stopped. The hot dog guy came over.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, the hot dog guy?
The guy from outside heard the arguing because we started inside and went outside.
The hot dog guy.
Well, so she starts going up to guys saying, oh, this guy over here, he won't have sex with me, he won't fuck me, all this stuff. And she gathered probably about 20 guys, and they all wanted to fight me.
What?
Yes, I had to sneak out.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
But it was just,
what guy's going to fight another dude because he don't want to bang some girl?
Well, she was a good-looking girl, and every guy said the same thing because they're captivated. They just go, she's beautiful. What's wrong with you, man? And he starts yelling at me.
Right. She's crazy.
And then she's going on all about this stuff, and then one guy wants to fight me, the next guy wants to fight me, so I had to get
Damn.
But yeah, nowhere near as crazy as Suits' situation, but she was definitely the craziest. We only dated for about 3 weeks. It was all I could do.
Hot crazy.
Hot and crazy. I think it's
sometimes a combination that is it's lethal because the hot
tricks
reels you in. It reels you in, but then you're like going, I can put up with a little crazy, and then sometimes you're in too far, and then you realize just how crazy it is, and you don't know. You're like, okay, it's got to be a hot crazy ratio. What am I dealing with here?
And they'll leave little clues, and you'll ignore them because you're, at first you're kind of into it.
This girl's hot.
What's the most lethal is if you have a 9 that's 10 crazy.
Oh yeah, jeez.
Because it's brought you in with the 9 in looks and then the 10 crazy, and forget it.
You're done.
Most guys are done for. Yeah, they can't resist the 9 hot until they realize it's 10 crazy.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
So stop talking to the crazy people.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Denny's. All right, there's your stories. One of our great KVJ Nationers, I just want to let you know we do the KVJ Cares. Remember Espen?
Yeah.
He's the kid that Adam Sandler, his name is spelled ESPN.
Sure.
And Adam Sandler ran into him in Boca and then actually used that as a character name in one of his movies. Espen got his electric scooter stolen, only had it 1 week before it was taken. And he's got a GoFundMe page up there. Poor kid, he's heartbroken. It was his only way to and from school, and now he has to walk 5 miles home.
Oh, Espen.
Yeah, so that's a KVJ Cares we'll post up. If you got a couple extra bucks and want to try to help Espen get some money back for his scooter, then you can do that. Like I said, especially around the holidays, you got a little bit extra cash, just go on to kvjshow.com. See people that are in need for different things. Like, I'd like to gift them. I got $20 for them. I got $50 for them. I got, whatever you got, even $5.
Sure, you can spread out $20 amongst 4 people.
Yeah, so it's kind of a way for us to help each other out. You never know what's going to happen. You get a scooter stolen, you knock out your front tooth. Sometimes these unexpected things happen. You need some bucks. So.
I don't know. I think we should try to get him to find the tooth.
You think, Dig through the poo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the tooth still has value.
I don't know if he would look through it, but I tell you one thing, and he probably won't admit it. He will look at every turd he has for the next week. He will give it a once over and be like, do I see my tooth? Okay. Nope. Promise you he'll at least do that. But he won't admit it.
If you see the tooth sticking out, what do?
Oh, that's a dilemma. That's a dilemma. You know, maybe I could get some chopsticks or a fork, so I'm not really touching it.
I feel like a spoon.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you fish a tooth out of a turd? I don't know. Any suggestions, you can let us know. All right, well, who knows where we'll be tomorrow with this show, but that's just part of the fun of KVJ. You never know, but we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems, ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.